Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Cincy Fishing Cincinnati. I'm John Sipes. I just wanted to kind of run through some things that I think I need to cover. Not going to really be about gear, fishing, anything of that nature. I'm going to give you a brief rundown on who I am, where I came from, why I'm doing this, what my goals are, and so on. So anyway, again, my name is John Sipes. I live down here in the greater Cincinnati area. A lot of the videos you're going to be seeing are from the Cincinnati area. A lot of ponds. I do a lot of bank fishing. No longer have boat access. If I do get a boat, which I plan on trying to do in the near future, we will progress into that. Another thing, guys, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't have tackle given to me for free. A lot of this tackle that I have, I've accumulated over the 40+ years of fishing. Which kind of gets into that. I believe the earliest date or time frame that I can remember that I was fishing, I was about 6 years old. My dad took me out fishing, did quite a bit of different types of fishing when I was a kid, fished with my dad. He taught me everything I know about fishing, and I have learned quite a bit online through various resources. There is a lot of great stuff out there, especially on YouTube, guys. I've been doing this, I've been bass fishing, serious bass fishing for about 37, 38 years. And when I'm talking serious bass fishing, it was either I was fishing in little mini tournaments through my dad's fishing club or the club that he belonged to at the time. I did fish in a lot of the local parks here, Whitewater Park, Winton Woods Park. I fished their bass tournament trail that they had, or if you want to call it that. Most of it was just for bragging rights between me and my friends. We got out, went around, did some bass fishing, and we bragged who caught the most, who caught the biggest. Was never money involved, anything like that. Again, that goes back into that. I am not sponsored, so when I'm telling you about a particular bait, or I'm talking about a particular bait, it's a bait that I have confidence in, or a bait that I'm trying out, something that I've seen that caught my eye, and I'll give you the honest opinion on it. That's the way I want to do it. I want to tell the truth about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, what I'm fishing, how I'm fishing it. I don't just fish for bass. I love fishing for bass. I love to have that competitiveness of bass fishing, but I fish for crappie, bluegill, catfish. I fish for a lot of different species, guys, so you're going to see some different stuff on my channel. The reason why I started doing this channel was I wanted to help guide people, give people honest information. This was something, geez, I want to say probably close to 10 years ago that me and my dad talked about, that we wanted to kind of put out some little videos and do some little how-to videos and give our take on it. My dad was kind of that unorthodox, run-of-the-mill conventional type fisherman. That's why I've learned some of the things that I've learned and do some of the things I do. Some of the baits that are called this now, we were trying it and doing something different. We fished a lot of high pressure lakes, and we tried to figure out different ways to do stuff. We wacky rigged before wacky rig was even a thing. We didn't have O-rings. We just straight hooked right in the middle of a bait. We cut the paddle tails off and made like our own stick bait. We tried different things and different combinations to see what worked. When we found things that caught fish, we stuck with it. Some of the stuff might have had a name. I just may have been unaware of it, and my dad was just teaching me because he knew of it or knew the way. Like a lot of people now are talking about the float and fly. That's been in this area for years. My dad taught me that. I do the float and fly fishing. I do that for crappie. I'll do that for bass. I do that for various different things. It's a great way to catch some fish, especially on a pressured lake. A lot of the equipment that I'll use, you'll see, I am heavily Shimano based. I have fished with Shimano reels, rods, since I was probably 10 or 12 years old, so we're talking 30-some years ago. I got hooked on Shimano. Nobody really steered me in that direction. Just one day, I remember I'd worked and saved up all my change and all my dollar bills, and my dad took me to the sporting goods store. I picked out a Shimano Bantam rod and reel setup. I still have that rod and reel setup. I have a lot of my old Shimano stuff. I've retired it. I think they're collector series now. It was a lot of the old fighting rods and the reels that went right along with them. A lot of it was the Bantam stuff. I'm sure what the Corrado has evolved from. I have fished with Daiwa. I have fished with Abu Garcia. I've fished with Quantum. I've fished with a bunch of other rod and reels. Shakespeare, the ugly stick. I have one that I crappie fish with. Actually, I've got another, just a Shakespeare rod that I've got a Shimano reel paired up on it. It's my ultralight setup. I love that setup. That rod is perfect. It's great for feeling a sensitivity on a bluegill and on a crappie and things of that nature. I love it. My little Shakespeare GX2 ugly stick combo. It's the rod and reel. Great little rod and reel combo. But getting back into that, just because you see me with Shimano gear, I'm not sponsored by Shimano. It just happens to be what I think is the best. I've had the best success with them. They've been old standbys that have been tried and true. Little bits of repair maintenance to them. Regular routine maintenance, yeah, we oil them. We take care of them. But I've got reels that are, I know they're 27, 35 years old. Shimanos that are still just like, they fish just like they did the day that I bought them. Parts are just great. Some of the old Abus, I've got a couple old Abu Garcias that were my dad's that are early 70s models. They fish great still. I've retired them. And I just took them out of service, and a guy, when I asked for them just to be serviced so that they were workable, cleaned up, nice looking, so I could put them on display. He replaced a bunch of the broken parts and wore out parts on them. He said they were long overdue. He had a couple of my old Shimanos along with them. He couldn't believe the difference, the quality of the Shimano or how they look compared to the Abu Garcias. I'm not knocking Abu Garcia, especially the old Sweden-made models. They're tanks. They do their job. I'm just partial to Shimano. Rods, I've got a plethora of different rods. I use some of the Bass Pro Shop brands. I have some Shimano rods. Not very many, but I've got a couple. And it's just a mix and match of different things that I know works. It's a different action, different rods that I've purchased, and that I have confidence in them, and what works for me. Line preference. There again, I don't have a lot of variables in my line. I stick to the tried and trues that I know work. I use Power Pro braid, almost strictly Power Pro braid. Again, that's a Shimano company. Didn't even realize that when I first started fishing with Power Pro. I do fish with a Yuzuri hybrid line. It's a fluorocarbon. I believe it's a copolymer line. Actually, I know it's a fluorocarbon hybrid line. I fish a lot of Trilene, the Berkeley big game type line. I do fish with some Stren. There is a Stren fluorocarbon that I'm using and I love. I use it on my crappie gear. Great strong line. Nothing against some of the other competitor type lines that are out there. Just what happens to work for me. When it works for you and you have confidence in it, why switch it up? Why keep moving around? Again, I have a line video that I put out, and it kind of tells you how I save money when I'm buying line. If I'm buying, I buy Seagar. I love that fluorocarbon. That's expensive line to me. So what I do is I run a backing on all of them. I covered that in that line video. Run a half a spool to 3/4 of a spool, not quite 3/4 of a spool. Run at least a half a spool of just some cheap garbage monofilament. $1.88 stuff that you can buy at Walmart or whatever your local store is that sells a cheap line. You don't need that line to be able to be able to wrestle in these fish or hold up on these fish, or to be able to be that sensitive, or to be able to not have that abrasion resistance. What you're doing is you're adding a backer, then adding your premium line in front of it, that you want that sensitivity out of it, that you want that abrasion resistance out of it. It'll save you money. Instead of having to buy $250 worth of line to line 4 or 5 reels, you could spend $50 on a spool of reel, big spool of reel, and line 6 or 7 reels with it that you normally wouldn't, because if you were spooling them all the way. And again, to me, if I'm using Seaguar fluorocarbon and I'm spooling an entire spool, to me what plays in the back of my mind is all that line that never gets used, and by the time you're getting down to it, you don't even have enough line on your reel to make a difference. You're not getting the casting distance out of it. So to me, that's just a waste of line. Everybody has their own opinion on that. That's my opinion on it. That's my take on it. I'd rather save my money for other things, and use that cheap $1.88 backing, and I put my premium line as more or less a leader, but I'll put 75 to 100 yards on there. Any more than that, to me, in most of the areas I'm fishing, I don't need it. If I got a fish that runs me 150 yards, I probably really need to rethink of how I'm playing that fish now. I'm fighting that fish. Set your drag correctly. That's number one. Number two, use the right rod. Don't put a 4-ounce bait on a rod that's rated for 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce. You'll break the rod, you'll damage the rod, and in return you'll do some damage to the line. So anyway, guys, that's a little bit about me, why I do this. Little plug in there. One of the things I seen recently, Matt Allen was talking about it. He shows you what he's fishing. I'll show you what I'm fishing today. I was walking around the pond right there, boys. The Molex spinnerbait. I was throwing that spinnerbait. I've talked about it, talked about why I like it, and I throw it. It does get bit. It catches fish. When I talk about using the Yozuri hardcore baits, there's one in a spring crawl. It works. Catches fish. Guys, I'm not out here to sell lures. I'm not out here to persuade you to buy a $50 lure or a $5 lure. I'll tell you the difference in them. I have them. You've seen some of the Megabass stuff that I have. I do like some of their baits. Again, a great way to pick up some of that stuff, especially here in Cincinnati, and I'm out here on kind of the east side of town. My local Dick's brings in a lot of this stuff, and the next thing you know, in a month or two, they're clearancing it out. That's a perfect time to go in and buy some Megabass stuff. You get a great score. You go in, I bought some of that Megabass poppers, I believe for $5. Can't beat it when you find the stuff on clearance. So be smart when you're picking up some of that more expensive baits. Shop online, find stuff on Amazon, stuff on eBay. Tackle Warehouse. Tackle Warehouse runs some great specials, great deals. Follow that kind of stuff. Watch for the specials, watch for the deals. You know, even if you're getting 10% off, 10%, and a lot of places that's going to at least cover your sales tax. Online shopping, think about that. That's 10% off of your order. Most places, if you're ordering out of state, you don't have that sales tax. So you're saving even more money. Anyway, guys, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. We appreciate anybody that's following us. We want to keep bringing new, fresh content out. We want to bring you what I'm doing. I've got a couple buddies that'll fish with me if I get them up. Get them out talking about some of the stuff. Get them out fishing with me. I do plan on making some fishing videos as well. Walking around some of the ponds, some of the areas where I'm fishing. I don't care if you know where I fish. I really don't care. If you see me out and about, you want to know what I'm catching them on, ask me. I'll tell you. I'll even share baits with you. I'm going to try to be as transparent as I can with what I use and what I know catches fish in my confidence baits. I'm not going to be like the pros and tell you to fish a $50 lure, and in reality I'm throwing a $15 lure, and I don't want to completely mislead you. I don't competitively fish anymore. I have no gain in that. Again, I don't sell baits. I don't make bait. Well, I'm going to start making baits, a couple of different things, but I'm not here to sell you a $50 bait. I'll tell you about them, give you my opinion on them, and tell you what I like about them, what I don't like about them. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody. If I do pick up sponsorship, I will be crystal clear on that as well. I'll tell you why they are sponsoring me. I'll tell you what I like about their gear, and why I chose it and why I use it. Again, guys, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. Hit the notification button, the little bell, to get notified every time I upload a video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, feel free to drop it below. Thanks again.